Playmaking first said that the bigger builds would be more viable in NBA 2K26, like the 6'6s, 6'7s, 6'8s, and even the 6'9s, I decided to make something similar to like a Cooper FLAGG build, a 6'9 that can do it all, as of dunking, being able to create his own shot, with having the ability to shoot as well, with this 6'9 build having no weaknesses. As of me over here playing to play now with Cooper FLAGG a few times and even seeing how he's finishing and things like that, and the way I end up setting up this build, you can make this build a 6'8 or even a 6'9. All you really got to do is just tweak a few things if you do go 6'8, but for this build being 6'9, if you see as the max potential stats that you can end up getting on this build on NBA 2K26, it's a little bit similar to how it is on NBA 2K25. There's a few differences as in the mid-range, the drive and dunk, the drive and layup. It's only a few things that's really a minor change, as of some areas losing an attribute or even gaining an attribute. For this build being a 6'9 demigod machine build, hey, you can make this build a small forward or a power forward. Now the reason I tell y'all can make it a small forward or power forward, if you want to end up getting like shifty shooter as a tier 2 and finesse the system, you can end up making this build a power forward. But if you don't care about that, you can just keep it as a small forward. But with this build being a all-around demigod, we're gonna make sure this build has a drive and dunk. It's gonna be similar to my Swiss Army knife at NBA 2K25 build, that it literally can do everything. As of having an 89 drive and dunk, get pro contact dunks off 1 and 2, we're gonna make sure this build ends up getting that 89 rating with a 78 vertical. But I'm gonna end up tweaking a few things as well with this drive and dunk. You know, you can get on that rim even with having silver posterizer. You can also max +1 and max +2 this in the future if you want to. You can end up getting Hall of Fame posterizer. And when it comes to the standing dunks, I end up keeping my standing dunks where they was, because you can really get standing dunks consistently just like 2K25. You can have a 50, 55, 60, or even a 45. And since we're on a taller build, it's going to be very easy to activate and trigger those animations. Now you may see me skip to my mid-range because I wanted to see where was my mid-range going to max out at. As of my mid-range, I was thinking it would be like 90 how it was last year, but it maxed it out at 89. But if you want to end up using your specialist, like your shooting specialization for your max +1s and max +2s, plus getting those cap breakers, you can end up making this a 87 mid-range and unlock those +2 cap breakers. You have an 89 to get that set shot specialist on gold. And then you can end up using that max +1 and that max +2 to get Hall of Fame or legend set shot specialist, and then you get the shifty shooter on gold or Hall of Fame based on where you place them. Now with the rest of this, you're gonna see that I'm gonna end up having an 80 ball control since I am on a 6'9. But the thing about having that 80 ball control, you will not be able to do the momentum cross. You will have to make a 6'8. 6'8 is the height cap that you're going to be able to end up doing that momentum cross, because you get an 85 ball handle. It can go all the way to 86, but 86 is ankle assassin and James Harden size up, but nothing really too crazy. And so if you want to end up being able to do momentum cross and go crazy, make this build 6'8 with an 85 ball control, and then rework a few of these stats so it can be able to reach similar stats that I have on the screen. Now when it comes to the drive and layup, I told y'all boys I was going to end up doing an 80, but I decided to go with 75 just to get the layup mixer and stuff like that. But because I can end up max +1 or max +2 in that in the future if I really want to get my layup mixer up, if it's really that important. But as a layup mixer, I feel like you can get the job done, because most of the time I'm gonna try to get on that rim. And then for my close shot, you see I have a 79 close shot. Now a lot of people will be like, oh, I'll just do 73, but I think my close shot is tied in with something else. That's the reason why my close shot is at 79. But if not, I can end up dropping that to 73 so I can get Paint Prodigy on bronze or whatever. But for the 3-pointer, my 3-pointer will be a 77 3-pointer. Now I could in the future, when I get those cap breakers from the season, or even get cap breakers from being a rep reward, I'll be able to get an 83 pointer on this build. I'm gonna build it up. I'm gonna put 3 cap breakers towards here as well, so I can end up getting that, since my specialization will be shooting, or you can end up doing as playmaking. Now you can pick a lot of different ways if you want to put your specialization. You be like, oh, I want to focus on shooting. You can go crazy if you specialize in shooting, and if you specialize in playmaking, you can go even more crazier, because you can end up using that max +2 on like handles for days on gold, or unpluckable on gold for a build like this, or even lightning launches, get it on Hall of Fame. If you really think about it, since you get lightning launches on silver, it's so many different possibilities that you could do if you end up using your specialist or even your max +1s or max +2s in certain places. Now look, as of everything that you see so far, we got an 89 drive and dunk, 89 mid-range. You can switch it to 87 and then specialize to shooting, so you can get +2 cap breaker, so you can get that 89, then you max +2 or max +1 it for your main shooting badges that you want to focus on. But when it comes to the defense, being on this 6'9 build, you're going to see that I'm going to put an 85 perimeter on this build, so we can get challenger on silver, pick dodger on silver, on ball menace on silver with this build. Now look, With having an 85, we are 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan, while I'm gonna end up putting my interior on a 60 so I can get paint patroller on this build. Now, the reason why you're gonna end up doing that, so you can end up getting a few stops here and there in the paint. We are on a 6'9", but we're on a mobile 6'9". We're on a 6'9" that can do it all. I can dunk, shoot, play defense, and dribble the ball, and grab rebounds once we end up putting the stats. Now, as this being similar to that Cooper Flag build, my Cooper Flag build in 2K25 had like an 84 block, but I did have cap breaker, so we're gonna end up having to make it a little bit different. As I having a 78, I still get high flight and iron on silver, and then for my steal, I got a 73 steal. This could be raised if you want to end up changing a few things. You can go 74 block and possibly go 79 steal, so you can get interceptor and glove on silver. Then you got the rebounding. Now, I made sure I gave my offensive rebound a 79 because that's been the threshold for the last few years to end up getting those great rebound animations, especially on offense and defense. If y'all paid attention last year, Cooper Flag build with 79 offensive rebound literally would jump over people with that silver rebound chaser. And now that I can end up maybe max +1 and max +2, I can possibly get gold or Hall of Fame rebound chaser on this build, basing on the setting or situation where I'm playing at. Now look, as an agility, we have an 83 speed, we got an 80 agility, then we have a 73 strength. Now I'm trying my best to end up getting that 60 interior back so we get that paint patroller, because that is very important. That's going to be a very important feature, especially having that on a 6'9" build, because hey, if you don't got it, you might end up still getting crammed on, but you want to make sure that you at least have that badge on bronze. And if you're trying to figure out the reason why I went 73 strength, you're going to end up getting strong handles on gold. That's another important badge to end up having. Now with strong handles, it definitely works very similar to NBA 2K25, and the more strength you have, and if you got it on Hall of Fame or Legend, you're going to be able to push people off you. You're going to be able to move people off you. To be honest, strong handles got combined from an old badge from 2K24 where you can end up bulldozing people out the way as well. But before I get into some of these max +1s and max +2s, I'm gonna show y'all this is what it looks like. You get two regular max +1s, one's a tier 1 and one's a tier 2 for your badge category. Then you get two max +2s, one's a tier 1 and one's a tier 2. So to break it down, you're gonna get two tier 1s and two tier 2s when it comes to these max +1s and max +2s. Now when it comes to the specialization, like they have shooting. I was told that there were no tiers when it comes to having that specialization. So if you want to end up putting a tier 1, two tier 1 badges and max +1 and max +2 for your specialization, like shifty shooter, set shot specialist, or even deadeye, you can do that. It doesn't matter if it's a tier 1 and a tier 2. And I think the reason being so you wouldn't have to waste your main actual max +1s and max +2s on something that you're specializing on. So you don't have to worry about, oh, I need to put max +2 on this so I can get it here, and or I need to put my max +1 here so I can get it there. It doesn't matter if it's going to be a tier 2 or tier 1 when it comes to your specialization. You can end up upgrading it. As long as it's in the shooting category or whatever category that you're specializing in, you're going to be a-okay. But now if you see my actual badges, these are what we're working with. Now when it comes to the max +1s, there's a lot of things. If you specialize in this, you can specialize dunking, you can specialize shooting, and you can specialize playmaking. There's three options to me. The defense, it can be 50-50 if you want to, but those are the main three categories, the scoring categories. And even if you do get those cap breakers from the specialization, you could put it towards your physicals if you didn't know, like speed and agility. So now, as of like, if you do a specialization in dunking, I can end up doing like posterizer on gold. I can end up getting layup mixer on gold or silver. Like, it's small things like that that's going to make a big change, or even get aerial wizard on legend on this build. Now, if I do shooting in specialization, I can end up getting set shot specialist on legend, shifty shooter on gold, or even shifty shooter on Hall of Fame, and set shot specialist on Hall of Fame to end up balancing it out. And then with the playmaking, I told y'all before, y'all can end up, if you specialize in playmaking, you can end up possibly getting silver handles for days, or even gold, or if you do lightning launches, you can get gold or Hall of Fame lightning launches as your specialization badges. Now when it comes to just regular max +1s and max +2s, the setup is going to be disgusting. Now if you want to go crazy and, you know what I'm saying, you want to get on that rim, you could do Hall of Fame posterizer and do it as a max +2. But I will mostly focus on like shooting wise and playmaking wise if it's something that's just you're not going to specialize in. Now look, if you specialize in that playmaking, I will work on the shooting badges and the dunking badges as the max +1s and max +2s. But if you want to end up specializing in like shooting, focus on the dunking and shooting badges. So if you want to mostly focus on the max +2s, I would try to bump it up on badges that's more lower, like the handles for days, or even like my quick first like lightning launches. I would want those to get boosted up. I would have my handles for days on gold and my lightning launches on gold. That would make a big difference on a 6'9" build that only had silver and handles for days on bronze. It makes a completely difference being able to move better on a build and have more stamina, and you end up putting those max plus 1s and max plus 2s in certain spots. Now, once you use those max plus 2s on those, you still got your max plus 1s. The max plus 1s could go in stuff like the set shot specialist, or you want to do gold posterizer based on which one you specialize in, or even if you want to end up throwing it on interceptor and get interceptor on gold. There's so many possibilities and so many outcomes that you can do on these bigger builds, because those builds don't have the high badge ratings. As them not having the high badge ratings, you can get them up to there or even make an even more crazier and balanced build, especially like something like this: dunk, shoot, dribble, pass, and be able to play defense and grab rebounds and not too slow. This is one of those builds that literally can do it all. Now, it's just based on how you set up the badge for max plus 1s, max plus 2s, and what you're going to specialize in. You have a lot of options with a build like this to figure out what you're going to specialize on, like a Cooper Flag or a younger KD build. But as of the name, they give us a two-way mid-paint score. I feel like some of these names could be a little bit better, especially with having 4,200 names added to the game. But as my go-to badge, you get Aerial Wizard, Set Shot Specialist, Off-Ball Pass, and in my top attributes, as you see, Drive and Dunk, Mid-Range, and Perimeter Defense. Now, I told y'all, this build has no weaknesses. And another thing I can't forget as well. Now, like I told you, this build is a small forward, but I also told you when you make a power forward, certain badges move to different categories as a tier 1 to a tier 2. Now, if I made this build a power forward, my shifty shooter would not be a tier 1 anymore. It will be a tier 2. So if you want to end up finessing the system and maybe getting your max plus 2 tier 2 in shifty shooter and not being a tier 1, you can end up doing that, so you can end up saving that to go somewhere else. So look, as in a build, I'm telling you, I'm dunking everything. I'm over here timing everything with the right stick. Usually I don't really rhythm shoot, but as of playing this, I was like, okay, let me try a rhythm shooting, because rhythm shooting this year, I feel like is going to be really broken compared to last year, as you only got to time the tempo this year. So in the comment section, let me know how y'all feel about that. You only got to time the tempo for the ball to actually go in the rim. Like, you don't got to time both of them anymore. Now look, let me know how y'all feel about this build. Hey, make sure y'all boys drop a like. Make sure y'all boys subscribe. Turn notifications, good stuff like that. Let me know if you want to make the 6'8" version or the 6'9" version. And before you go, don't forget to check out the video on the screen, man.